Everybody, I'm Bijane Kareem. Welcome to our Get Grants last Tuesday of the month, 7 p.m. for 10 minutes segment on how we can get classroom funding for you. So just a little information about myself. I was a classroom teacher for many years. I'm currently an adjunct professor and recently a self-published author to where I'm helping educators to get grants for their classroom. So that's what I'm here today to do, is to give you a little nugget that will help you secure the bag for your kids, all right? So I have a presentation for you. I'll go through and share a little bit with you. And feel free to pop any questions into the chat box. So let's get started. A little bit about BK International Education Consultancy. Our focus is to strengthen educators' practices to better serve youth. And we do that through program implementation and management, curriculum design services, as well as continuing education and training. And we serve pre-K through 12, school communities, youth and parent organizations, as well as government and nonprofit. We also share out Funding Friday, so funding opportunities for educators. Whether you're a teacher in a classroom, you're at a daycare, you're at a private school, at a public school, connect with us on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, we're there. All right, so the purpose of tonight's 10-minute training is to define grant and crowdfunding, as well as identify where can you go for crowdfunding for your classroom. And the overall outcome is to help build educators' knowledge and confidence to grant write to increase the student supports that you need. All right, so let's talk a little bit about grants. So just as a baseline definition, you may say, what do I have to do with grants? What does grants have to do with crowdfunding? What is crowdfunding? So let me break it down for you. All right, so the definition of grant, we're going to use this loosely, but there are three components. So one is that they're non-repayable funds. They're not like a loan where you have to pay them back. Grants are free money, okay? Free money, free coins. And they are usually awarded by some other party, which we'll call a funder, to an applicant. So as an educator, you would be that applicant. And once awarded, usually it becomes a contract. So you have to be mindful about what you put in your grant, because once it's awarded, then they're going to hold you to that. So I want you to keep those things in mind in terms of what grants are. Some other information you need to know about grants is that they usually are designed to fund a specific project, and they require some level of compliance and reporting, and they're usually short term, right? So grants don't fund you for on and on and on and on and on. And I wish that were the case, but that's not the case. So I want you to keep all those things in mind as we segue over into talking about crowdfunding. All right, so what is crowdfunding? Anybody have a yes? If you're an educator, I'm sure you're probably going to unpack that word crowdfunding. Let's break that word apart. So crowdfunding is raising small amounts of money, a crowd, right, from a large group. And usually this happens on the internet, okay? And so here's some examples of some educator-specific crowdfunding sites. So you may have heard of some other crowdfunding sites like GoFundMe, right? That's a popular one. But these ones here are specifically for educators. So for example, Adopt a Classroom, Donors Choose, and some new ones that have come out. Classful is a new one for educators. And there's another one that's called Fundly. You can also do a Google search online and type in crowdfunding for educators and see what pops up, because there tends to be some new ones all the time. So check out these sites. And what does this have to do with grants? Well, if you remember what we said before about what grants are, if you go to a crowdfunding site and are awarded funds to their crowdfunding site, you shouldn't have to pay it back, right? As long as you're following what you said that you were going to do with the money. And your funders for the crowdfunding would be the funder for your grant, so to speak. So I put crowdfunding under the grant category. And I also like these crowdfunding sites because they're educator friendly, they're not time intensive, and usually you can turn your lesson plans into this easy, quick application that you have online. A tip that I would recommend, I would start off with one site and mosey my way on to the other sites. So as educator, I know you may have multiple needs for your classroom, not just one. So use the different websites. Use Adopt a Classroom, use Donor Choose, use Classful for the things that you need instead of spending out of your own pocket. Okay, because we know we don't get really reimbursed for those things. So try these out and let me know what you think. Also, for those who are tuned in, because remember, we're only staying around for about 10 minutes, is a funding identification worksheet. So with this funding identification worksheet, not only does it talk to you about crowdfunding sites, but other places that you can go to get funds for your classroom. So other places you can go that offer grants just for educators just like you. And on top of that, because I'm in such a generous spirit and I want to help support other educators like myself, I also am giving away a free copy of my self-published book called 12 Quick Steps to Writing Winning Classroom Grants. Free. If you have Kindle Unlimited, you can download the ebook today for $0.99. I know educators love $0.99. So just for you, free copy of 12 Quick Steps to Writing Winning Classroom Grants, and it'll unpack even more than just crowdfunding sites. It'll tell you how to turn your lesson plans into grant applications for other grants, for larger grants, for your classroom, maybe even for your school. So it's a teacher-friendly guide from one educator to another to help you secure the bag for your kids. All right, so just as a recap, those crowdfunding sites are Adopt a Classroom is one, Donors Choose is another, Classful is another one, and then 3 other ones. Check out ClassWish, check out Fundly. You can also post a classroom project on GoFundMe as well. All right, so stack the odds in your favor so you can get everything that you need for your classroom this year, right? There's a lot of things going on in the world, and spending out your pocket for your classroom should not be one of them. And for that funding identification sheet that I mentioned earlier, you can go to bkconsultancy.org/free-funding-ID-worksheet to get that free funding identification worksheet. So you have several tools to go out there and be successful. You have a funding identification worksheet. You can get access to a free download of 12 Quick Steps to Writing Winning Classroom Grants to help you get everything that you need for this school year. All right. Check back in with me for next month. We'll do another 10 minutes. I'll give out a tip and answer any questions that you all have. Again, we're BK Consultancy, BK International Education Consultancy. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, or YouTube if you haven't already. And I'm going to take a second to see if there are any questions in the chat box that I can answer for you. All right. Say yes, give us the nuggets. Yes, thank you. And use the crowd to fund. That's right. So think about it. For those who may go to have a spiritual home, right? And usually in your spiritual home, you give donations. Essentially, that's an example of crowdfunding. There's a crowd of people giving small amounts of money for a particular thing. Crowdfunding, we're doing that on the internet now. We're leveraging technology so we can reach people far and wide to help support our efforts. All right. If there's any other questions, hit us up, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We're here. So we'll see you back again next time, the last Tuesday of the month, 7 p.m., 10 minutes, in and out. Thank you for your time. We appreciate you.